First of all, why digital, which is on the slide. Ollie made some really, really good points about construction being behind as an industry. If you look at the sort of comparative industries, according to McKinsey, the only less digitized industry is hunting, which somebody also made the good point of earlier, I didn't realize was an industry. Fundamentally, it's a bit of a jargon word. Digital actually comes from the Latin for digitalis, which is fingers. Kind of ironic, but fundamentally we're talking about technology in an interesting way. The key reason we decided we were going to do something around digital technology was because our clients asked us to, and we saw a big trend in the industry, and fundamentally our CEO at the time, a guy called Uwe Kruger, saw the potential of technology to transform our business, help to transform our clients' businesses, and help to transform construction as a whole, which is the really, really interesting jewel at the end of this rainbow. Can we do something a little bit more exciting? Picking up on some of that, digital is not just about technology. It's about new ways of doing business. So some of the software as a service stuff that Joseph and those guys are doing, as well as some of the things that we're trying to do with clients. It's about clear value propositions of doing something differently. We did a piece of work with Thames Water where we aggregated 3 or 4 bits of data from around their program and saved them about 9 million quid just by changing how they plan their works between their operational expenditure and CapEx cycles. We had no idea what they were doing around that. It was just an example of actually, can you plug things together through technology and reach better outcomes? It's about experimentation and disruption and having the sort of will and proverbial non-gender specific balls to say this is the wrong way of doing something. This is stupid, this is a waste of time. Like I remember my first week as a graduate, somebody got really, really upset with me for writing a script that removed 4 members of his team from necessity. He got sacked 3 weeks later, so it was fine. But it's about actually going forward and saying, this is stupid. Let's be honest as an industry and say some of the things we do are a waste of time and how can we change things? And fundamentally, it's having the right people doing the right jobs. I'm going to talk through 3 really key sectors of that we sort of focused on. The first is about people. The second is about process and some of what we were trying to do to get those people doing certain things. And the final piece is about technology. First of all, people. A lot of organizations have this huge top-down mechanism of we're going to do digital technology, it's going to be great. We're going to achieve, farmer report levels of efficiency, construction 2025, everything's going to be a glowing future. And then they stick a director who has 25 years experience, hasn't opened a design application, has no idea what data is, in charge of leading it. We decided that really wasn't going to work because a lot of those people don't have the fundamental understanding of the change technology can bring to their business. So the first thing we did was we ran out and we said, who are the people who really love this? Who are the people who embrace it? And we put them in positions of authority. So we bought Grad Plus 2, Grad Plus 3, Grad Plus 5, and said, right, you're now leading the digital strategy for a 900-person business. So we went bottom up as opposed to top down. We said our architects have different needs to our structural engineers. Our civil engineers have different needs to everyone else. And actually, we can have this authoritarian top-down vision of the future that provides a great foundation, but we need to find the people who are going to do this. The second thing we do is we said, fundamentally, we're an engineering consultancy, and consultancies sell intellectual power. That's actually our single greatest asset. We sell time and materials, which represents people, and we buy incredible amounts of IQ to try solve complex problems. So some people run out to the market, they hire 50 new people to do different things. We said, how are we going to make the people we have do their job even better? So we trained 700 people in a variety of coding languages. We ran Dynamo courses, we ran Python courses, we ran VBA courses, and we said, whatever you're doing now, how can elements of programming or different things help you do your job better, or how can you do it completely differently? The other piece of the puzzle was we looked around our business and said, we've probably got a load of stuff in a bank, so we used a platform called Digital Creator to pick all that up and say, what tools do you have that make your life easier? What scripts do you have? How do you collaborate? We had 564 different pieces of technology, be it scripts somebody had written to automate 3D RC detailing or other pieces of programmatic design, and we started sharing them. So as opposed to just saying, right, we need to transform, we need to bring in the new, we need to do everything, we said, we're an incredible business with a load of really cool stuff. How do we get that back onto projects? Which gets onto the next part around process. Now, this is completely the wrong graphic. I'm really sorry. I found the wrong one and realized I got it this morning. We have a load of really, really big capital projects. And we went to them and said, right, instead of ignoring what we're doing and planning to do something simple, how can we pick up what we have in the business and throw it onto projects we already have? So we ran digital challenge projects, digital challenge sessions. And the initial output of those was, let's work with our project teams, let's engage the senior directors and get buy-in. We had all these plans to implement tools we had, whether it was things like 3D Reaper or other pieces, didn't work. Completely failed, and I'll say that honestly, because we made the mistake, we didn't make the step before, which was we spoke to the people who don't care about it and understand it. We went back and did it again. We picked people on the projects who really, really cared about this, were on the ground, understood data, and we had massive success. And I'll talk about one of those projects about that again. The other thing we did was redesigned our BMS and said, which stages of it can we automate? So we looked at developing BEPS, for example, for bids. And we actually wrote a tool that analyzes EIRs from clients and automatically generates a BEP that's 70 or 80% of the way there. So actually, as opposed to 16 hours of a BIM technician going through the requirements, looking through, putting together something that's about right, we hit the spot a lot faster. And the third part we did was around tech labs, which was having showcases of the work we're actually doing and bringing people who didn't understand it and clients and other people into there. So we had VR showcases, we had people showing off some of the linear design work we're doing, all sorts of things. But the point was, this isn't the future, this is now. I was at a conference today on airports and aviation and connected autonomous vehicles. And a client we were speaking to said, the thing is, autonomous vehicles, it's already interesting, but it's not going to happen for 20 years, so we can't really see the future. I don't agree. Technology is happening now. Ollie made some really, really good points about that. And we have to change as a business. So actually, I don't understand it. Let me push it down the line. Doesn't really work. I'm running out of time, and Pavel's probably going to shout at me. I've got 2 minutes. It's fine. It's fine. Third part of that is the technology. So we're doing some really, really cool stuff around generative design and automating the master planning process. We're also doing some really, really cool things about saying, how do we take our 55-year-old architect, who's an incredible creative designer but hates technology, and bring him into this generation? So actually, we let him keep his pen, but we give him an iPad Pro, and we connect some of those volumetric massing models to generative algorithms that begin to create data from what he's doing, so we can start looking at theoretical ontologies of buildings and actually sitting on the top deck and visualizing what the penthouse suite view might look like by pulling in Google Maps information. So again, the point there is, how do we pick up what we have as a business and focus it on our people as well? So one little example of that, something we're doing with 3D Repo. I don't think any of our senior directors have ever been in a Revit model, and I'll make that claim. Some of them have, but I'd make the same claim for you guys. And what we wanted to do was say, right, a common data environment for us is about bringing all of the things you need to do your job 2 or 3 steps closer than they used to be. So we have an Office 365 enterprise license. We plugged 3D Repo into that. We plugged Power BI in that so we could have our budgets and dashboard acclamations. We plugged Jira into that so we could track early warnings and RFIs. So actually there's a single shop for all of your project needs. And you have the model in there through 3D Repo. And as opposed to all of this, where you've got technicians here, you've got data which the BIM manager and a few people understand, and you've got the things that people do their job there, everything's in one place, because actually digital technology should make your lives easier, not more stressful. Thanks.